let's go to John, a New Jersey cop. John, you're on the air. Go ahead. Go ahead, John.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, Alex, I appreciate everything you do. My thing is with police officers, why won't more law enforcement come forward and state who they are? My name is John Carroll. I'm a detective. I'm a 9/11 responder. Why are law enforcement people so afraid of doing this?
Why is the general public so afraid? It's peer pressure. It's cultural. What will people think?
Exactly. My badge number was 9/11 on 9/11. Now, that might mean something. I don't know. I'm not necessarily a religious person, but I do believe there is a God. But and another thing I wanted to mention too, while I have you, I spoke to a good friend of mine who works. He's a detective in. I don't want to say where he works because he's not a 9/11 truther, but we looked up Barry Jennings. There is no incident report on Barry Jennings. Now, an incident report is an automatic. That's an investigation report. If you expire, there has to be an incident report. And for some reason,
I know I paid for expensive databases to get everything on him. The guy that reported, the deputy head of emergency management reported all the bombs and the explosions in Building 7. And, you can't find anything, but you can find things on everybody else.
No, well, actually, there was his wallet was stolen, or he lost it a month before 9/11. Now, I don't know if that actually connects. I don't know. Obviously, it could just be a coincidence. It was on First Avenue in Manhattan, but I don't know. I don't think that exactly. That's an incident. I don't want to say that precludes what happened on 9/11. That probably was just a coincidence. That's the last thing on the radar as far as who's concerned, which is odd.
Well, when you're trying to wake up other police officers, I'd bring them Reuters last week with the Germans caught staging a terror attack in Kosovo against their own police station. I mean, there's cases every week where government stage terror attacks. So the fact is, this does happen. This does come out because there are good people, in these systems who catch them. It's all compartmentalized. I keep going back to compartmentalization. But why don't police stand up and do more against the evil system? A, they're compartmentalized. B, they're brainwashed and conditioned, dumbed down just like the rest of the public. But more than that, take the Texas Rangers. They found out, 3 years ago, now I guess about 4 years ago, that there was mass pedophile rings with judges, police, and others at the Youth Commission in West Texas. Then they found out it was going on statewide with the parking lots filled with people coming in to have sex with the young boys. And then the state police, that's part of the state police, they got in trouble for trying to investigate it, and then they had to blow the whistle internally to finally get some investigation going, and then those guys now are getting demerits and getting white gloved, getting white glove inspections. So, because it's a pedophile ring that runs things, sir. It's just, you can't make this stuff up.
I've found in my career now, I'm a cop for 15 years now.
Well, stay there. We'll finish up with what you have to say on that. Then I'll get into the whole martial law situation, the latest developments there. And we'll talk to Paul in California, Steve in Chicago, John in PA, Bill in Texas, and others. Two big guests coming up after that. But stay there. We'll come right back to you, John in New Jersey.
Man again.
To let your love shine.
A single drop of rain.
But I will remain.
I will remain.
All right, let's go back to your calls.
Back again.
I got to take that song out of rotation. Every time I hear it, I got to play the whole thing. So good. All right, finishing up with, I've actually heard of you, John, up in New Jersey. You've had some 9/11 truth events up there. You've had a lot of courage. Being a police detective and a 9/11 hero, what type of pressure, if any, have you gotten for your public stand?
Actually, it's more dismissive. It's for some reason like what you speak to. There's this bubble around people that they don't want to accept it. Even the people that responded, and when you lay it out, like Richard Gage eloquently lays it out, and you refer the websites, everyone just recoils from it. I have no idea why.
I know why. It's too scary to realize that there's this type of evil in control.
Well, it was more of a rhetorical question, and thank you for the response. But what I've been attempting to do is to not necessarily embrace the whole 9/11 truth movement, because you've spoken to it quite a few times, that it does get a little convoluted.
It's also filled with operatives.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you spoke to the loose change guys when it wasn't Burmis. It was who was the other guy? There's Corey Rowe and Dylan Avery. Yeah, and he was worried because when Barry Jennings had expired, there was that. I remember you challenged him. Listen, you have to insulate yourself, coming out and going public about this. And I'm 100% on board with that. The issue with me is when I try to speak to my contemporaries, it's so, like you said, compartmentalized that everyone sort of just automatically recoils, like a knee-jerk reaction to what truth is. I mean, it's this simple. All you have to do is just look up the information.
Well, I mean, let's just forget 9/11. Let's just say 19 guys from a cave actually did that, and the CIA just happened to be running drills of flying planes to the exact same targets at the exact same time. And with the London bombings on 7/7, the exact same trains and bus being bombed at the exact same time, at the exact same location, on the exact same day, magically with the government running that drill. And, all the other thousands of pieces of evidence. Or the U.S. troops and British troops massing around Afghanistan the months before, and Bush signing a launch order, Associated Press, to attack Afghanistan the day before 9/11, on and on and on forever. Or the heads of embassies saying that the hijackers were U.S. government agents and were allowed back in and that had security clearances, on and on and on. Let's just ignore all that. Operation Northwoods was a U.S. government green-lighted plan to carry out 9/11-style attacks. There are over 200 declassified examples of the U.S. government and the European government staging terror attacks that are admitted just up until the 1980s. Just last week, the Germans were caught attacking the UN NATO base, dressed up like Serbs. They were caught. It's admitted. So, I mean, every week this is red-handed. So we know this goes on. So to say that we're dumb for wanting investigations when there's all this evidence of a cover-up, I mean, they planted not one, but two passports the day of 9/11, and then they claim they found them. Not just that they didn't get damaged, but they found the passports.
Alex, if this is the info war, and I believe it is, I mean, it really, I have to embrace the idea, because it is tough to get around, because I'm used to interrogating people. Interviewing people. That's what I do for a living. So you have to deconstruct people, which is tough. You're psychoanalyzing, and it's tough. I've taken many courses over the years just to do that. So my question to you is that if you're the commander, and you really are, you're putting more out than anybody can possibly do that I know of. So if you can do that, and you're the commander, you have to look at the local police as the grunts. We're the guys in the mud, and we're going to do...
I know, and at a primitive level, I tend to lash out because the system is corrupt, and I've said I add to the psychology of an us against them, getting mad at all these videos of cops beating up defenseless teenagers, and then that actually helps the New World Order, because then that makes good cops think that the people are against them, and then it adds to the gang psychology, and I've tried to be more friendly towards the police. I've tried to reach out and explain to them that they're under attack as well. I've tried to show them how they're being programmed. I have been trying, and you're absolutely right. I am not a perfect person. None of us are. And at a primitive level, my dad gets pulled over in a car I sold him, and the cop comes up and says, well, you're not Alex Jones. And by the way, I listen to Alex Jones on the radio. And I'm sorry we made you sit here for 10 minutes, but this said special handling in my database.